Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about that passion. I'd love to hear about that from both of you. What's been your life experience and what brought you to palliative care? Why are you so passionate about it?
Well, it's so interesting because when I graduated nursing school, the two areas of nursing I did not want to pursue was oncology and pediatrics. And life has a way of kicking you in the butt. And when our 10-year-old son had just had a physical, and a week later was Thanksgiving in 1995, and he fell in the hallway. And we eventually found out that he had leukemia. And he went through 3.5 years of chemotherapy, well, 2 years, and then he was in remission for 3.5 years, and then he relapsed and he had to have a stem cell transplant. And it was a very high-risk transplant because we couldn't find a perfect match, and his sister was a near match. So what happened, eventually David developed severe complications, and he passed away in 2000. And it was just very painful to stay in the United States, so we moved to London. And my husband had a job opportunity there, and I started immersing myself into what I could do. And I came across an organization in London called the Teenage Cancer Trust, and they built inpatient cancer units for teenagers, and I had never heard of this in the US. So I eventually, it took some time, but I volunteered, and I went to monthly meetings, and I met a nurse counselor who we started talking and got along very well. And they, the organizers of the Teenage Cancer Trust, asked us to give a presentation at an international conference on adolescent oncology at the Royal College of Physicians. And it was basically the US nurse who lost her son and the nurse from the UK who helped her heal. And Vicky was counseled teenagers who were dying. And she just had an incredible bedside manner. And she just had a talent that was beyond what I was familiar with. And so after we gave our presentation, I realized I had a voice. I had a powerful voice as a mother and as a nurse. So eventually, when I moved back to the United States, I got involved with my alma mater, which is Fairfield University. And I met a professor there who is a professor of pediatrics with a love for pediatric oncology. And Eileen is the one who directed me to palliative care. And she says, I think this is what really would have benefited your son.
Me was that he always tried to make his choices based on quality of life and finding and meaning and dignity and purpose in what his choices were. He didn't just do things by the cookbook. And it really worked out for him because he forged his own path. You know, he was the trustee of our church. He ran 4 bowling leagues. He worked full time. He commuted on the train to New York without a voice. You know, even at my next neighbor recently was telling me that during the blackout of 1967, you know, there he was, no way to talk on a phone, stranded in Manhattan, and he managed to get himself on a helicopter out of New York. Yeah, no kidding, and helicoptered out to Kennedy, and then came to Long Island. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think I could do that, and I have a voice, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of environment that I grew up in,
Yeah.
you know, and so, like I said, we did palliative care before we ever knew it.
Right.
And, you know, not surprisingly, to a career in medicine, although my older brothers did not. And I went on to do OBGYN until my father got sick, you know, for the umpteenth time. But this time they told him he only had a couple of weeks to live. And so my husband and I figured, okay, it's 2006, you know, it's been 45 years, you know, we're going to move him from Long Island to our home and pass away. And he lived another 18 months in our home. And it was the hospice nurses that really educated me about what palliative care is, what it's not, what hospice is, what it's not. And then they asked me to become their medical director a year after he passed. To which I said, I'm a gynecologist. What are you thinking about? The nurse, who was a seasoned 8-year-old nurse from Brooklyn, tough Irish, wonderful woman, said to me, "Yeah, but you're trainable." Which I said was the highest compliment I'd ever got. A nurse telling me I'm trainable. Right? And they did. And they trained me. And they made me the medical director. And a year later, I took the boards and I became a board certified physician, and I stopped doing gynecology. And then, at the gracious donation of Betsy and Steve Corman, they created the palliative care service at Greenwich Hospital, and I was the founding medical director there, and then came to meet Robin. And after 7 years of that program, joined the faculty at the Kanarek Center at Fairfield as their scholar in residence in palliative care, which is an exceptional honor because I get not only to do private palliative care in the community, which we all know is a real struggle.
Yeah.
You're in a tertiary care center or a community hospital, it's very rare. But I live in town, so I get to do private palliative care, and I get to do scholarly work at the Kanarek Center.
And you go to the conferences, and she goes to Hartford, and
Nice.
all over the place.
And it's, due to people like Robin and Joe and Betsy and Steve who have this heart for palliative care. So we all come to it from very personal places.